Hello everyone, we're Xiaocheng and Adam from Samsung International Business Society, and today we have a very special guest here with us, Mr.Lars Bachelor, to share the information of e-commerce and the future insights about the chemical industry. Mr. Lars, could you please introduce yourself and your career path?
Well, thank you very much for this possibility. And to introduce myself, my name is Lars Bachelor. I'm a German, and I'm born 1966, so I'm 54 years old, becoming 55 in December. Also, I know I look a little bit younger. The secret for this I will give you later. And coming to my background, let's start at my university level. I studied that what we call it industrial engineering. So it is a mix of chemical engineering as well as of business administration. I studied at a technical university in Berlin. And after this, I became a trainee for marketing and sales. And this was a trainee time of 1 year. And after this 1 year, they sent me already to Malaysia. And I became a project manager for Malaysia for a project to build up a polyethylene foam in Malaysia. And I was 3 years in Malaysia. And at these 3 years, I was in charge for Southeast Asia to build this kind of plant up from the commercial point of view. I met my wife at that time. She's a Malay. And I had a very good time in Malaysia. And after these 3 years, we went back together to Germany. We were staying then in Germany, and I became a business development manager for India and for China, but from Germany. That was also a very exciting time. And it was so exciting that I got hired by a headhunter, working for an English company, but working in Munich. Sounds a little bit strange, working for an English company in Munich, but these days the international companies, they have all over the world as subsidiaries. So then we moved to Malaysia from Cologne area. We moved to Munich, and we got 2 children at that time. So they're both born in Bavaria and behave also like Bavarians most of the time. And we had a good time in Munich. We were 4 years in Munich. I did business development all over the world for this English chemical company. And then this company got bought by another German big group named Degussa. And this German big group, as they know that I'm married to a Malay, so I'm married in Malaysia, so I'm converted converted Muslim. And they approached me if I would have an interest to become the managing director for, at that time, the company called Degussa in Iran. So I moved with the 2 small children and with my wife to Iran. We were living in Tehran, and I was a managing director for 3 years in Tehran. You can imagine that was also a very exciting time with everything what the country there offers, inclusive even earthquakes and whatever, things which were not so nice, but pretty exciting. And also from the business point of view, I was pretty successful because after that I got offered to become the regional president for the whole Middle East and Africa. And I moved to Dubai with the whole family. So and then we were living 4.5 years in Dubai. That is until the year 2010. So, and for Dubai, as I said, I was in charge for the whole Middle East Africa. And 2010, I got a request to come home after all this long time being abroad. Company asked me to come back and to take over to build up a key account department for feed additives, what was also very exciting. You see, I always build up things. I always do business development. I always erect things. And that was very interesting. And I did this for 2-3 years. And then after that, pricing became very active in the international group. So pricing was a big subject. And I was approached to build up a pricing department. So suddenly I became a head of the pricing department. And this I built also up on. That was then 7 years ago. And then in 2016, I became the head of the marketing. And later we erected also the e-business part, which includes a lot of e-business activities, e-commerce and so on. And that is my actual function at this point.
Okay, as one of the members in the Evonik, could you please explain Evonik's focus on to increase the value of the company and target 3 strategic focus areas: portfolio, innovation, corporate culture. Why do you consider these three focus areas crucial to the company?
Well, you know, portfolio is, you mentioned it, portfolio, innovation, and corporate culture. From my perspective, you have to see it, you cannot see it independent. You have to see it all three things together. Portfolio activities, to have the right portfolio, to have the right business activities. That means a coming and a going of activities, a coming and going of companies. Yeah, it is acquisition work, it is a selling of certain parts of the companies. This is an ongoing thing these days for multi-international companies. And it is clear because this, you sharpen your portfolio, that is an active thing, that is ongoing. And with this, the second part, what you mentioned, the innovation, this is a must-have these days, especially for companies, for example, who have their roots in Germany, because Germany has not so much raw materials. So, but what we have is a lot of science power. We have a lot of research here. We have a lot of innovation power. So that is our capital in a way. So to have this together, and that is what is our selling point in comparison to the rest of the world. Our labor workforce is, of course, not cheap, but this innovation power brings us forward. But that is also an ongoing thing. That means you have to constantly look into your innovations, into your innovation power, into your innovation pipeline to fill this constantly. This is not static. You cannot leave it just as it is and say, okay, I'm good, I'm highly innovative, that's it. That's a must-have, and it is ongoing, the same as the portfolio activities. The last part, what you mentioned, is the corporate culture. That is a pretty interesting thing, because if I would ask you what is corporate culture, I would get one question, probably 10 different answers. But let me express it. What does it mean for me? Corporate culture is the glue, let's say, to have all the people, the activities, the different attitudes, the different minds together. It glues them together, but it's at the same time also the kind of a machine oil, which let the people run together the activities, but with a different approach, with different mindsets. So at one time it brings them together like the glue, and on the other hand, it keeps them moving like a machine oil nicely together. So that is corporate culture, if you in the nicest way. And that is very important, especially, as I said, for multi-international companies, because you have many different people in the boat, and there is no, let's say, only straight German thinking or whatsoever. Our group is multinational and multi-diverse. So that is a very important factor, especially if it comes to corporate culture.
Mr. Lars, as you are currently the Vice President of Marketing and eBusiness in Evonik Industries, you certainly hold a great deal of responsibility and a huge look. You really inspire us when we find out that you also own a training and coaching company, namely Human Factor Training Coaching. We would love to know what drew you to start a business by holding a position of a high responsibility in Evonik Industries.
Well, Adam, thank you for this question. This was the part which I skipped out when I introduced myself, because I gave you just the introduction from my, let's say, industrial career in the first place. But as you mentioned, Adam, I have a company by my own. This company is called Human Factors Training and Coaching. And this Human Factors Training and Coaching company is a very small company. It's just me, let's say, and certain coaches which is working from time to time for me. But this kind of a company is it got erected out of my activities of Evonik Industries, and that is a quite interesting story. How it comes to that? It was very simple. When I was heading the pricing department at Evonik Industries, I was also building up one class, one training, because I trained very often our people in pricing basics, financial activities, financial background. So what you all need tools for pricing. And then one part, what I felt, what is from my point of view most interesting, was pricing psychology. And pricing psychology, I built up a training for pricing psychology. And I noticed when I gave training for 1 or 2 days in pricing, when it came to the part of the pricing psychology, everybody was suddenly awake. Everybody was suddenly very interested. Oh, how comes people buying this? How come people acting irrational? How come there are certain psychological effects behind? So all the salespeople I trained, all the purchasers I trained, even top management, they became very interested in these very soft aspects. Yeah. So I came in touch with this when I was heading the pricing department. So that was fine and that was very interesting. But we noticed, and I'm belonging to a business line called Animal Nutrition. What is a huge business line? This business line, to give you an idea, has more than 5,000 people in the business line. And last year we had 1.55 billion euro sales. So this year might be even 1.7 billion euro sales. So you can see it's very big. And only our sales department had more than 400 people active. So there you can see we had our own trainings, we had our own in-house trainings, and we realized that these trainings were very coming from the German roots, from the science roots. They were very technical. And we noticed that our people are very much on the, let's call it, German engineering side. But the part what we would describe as soft skills, the human factors, some of them, they had this by nature, but some of the colleagues, they were too much in the technical side. And at that time we said, well, our sales force is so big, they should have also better soft skills. And then we ask ourselves in the company, in the management, in this business line, how can we bring up these soft skills? How can we foster these soft skills? Are there trainings on the market for that available? And I was approached by top management because of this pricing psychology activity. They said, hey, you are anyway in this pricing psychology. Can you have a look if there are certain soft skills trainings available in the market, certain trainers, certain programs? And I checked, and there was nothing from my point of view which was completely holistic, let's say. Yeah, there were certain dimensions. Of course, salespeople, they get trained to see also certain, let's say, emotions or whatsoever, or to act in this or that way psychologically. But there was no proper program completely. And then we said, okay, we built up our own program. And as I said, as I was already in pricing psychology, this kind of a program was on me to build up. So I built up a completely, what we call it, soft skills concept. And this soft skills concept had 4 parts. It had the facial expressions, it had characters and personality to analyze, it had voice and intonation, very interesting, especially these days in the virtual world, and it has the completely rest of the body language. So you see 4 parts, and that was our complete soft skills concept. I built this up for 2 years, and I went to many different academies all over Europe, and there was a top academy named ILET Academy in Berlin. They helped me very much to build up this soft skills concept. And this concept was then for our salespeople in the first place. But at that time, I came to my superior and I said, well, the concept is fine and it is good, I believe, what we built up, but it is not verified outside. And you have to understand, the chemical industry in Germany was at that time, let me describe it a little bit nasty, old white man's chemistry. So if I would say, hey, I want to have a soft skills concept also for young ladies, for different people from a different area, with different mindset, how does my soft skills work also for this? Does the concept work for everybody? So this kind of a verification was missing. And I asked my superior, is that possible that we do a verification outside? And you see, if you do verification outside and you're coming from a company, it's difficult because everybody would say, hey, you are colored, how you can do that? Then we had the idea that I open my own company as a side business. So you need the okay from your company you're working for. So and I got this possibility, and my superior said, yeah, that's a good idea. Just do some trainings from time to time. This will give us for Evonik also certain inputs. And this kind of a training will help us to bring us forward. And that was the time when I erected my own company named Human Factors Training and Coaching. So you see, it has a history, but it is nice. And until now, I'm doing this as a side business. So if you would say, hey, how often you can do this? Well, I do this 2, maximum 3 days a month. So for my own. So that comes to about 10%. That's not big. I have to take leave also for certain activities. So, but I'm doing this, I wouldn't call it, I do it for fun, I do it for interest. But the nice point is I don't do it so much for money. Yeah.
Okay, I understand that like soft skills is really important for like for this time, especially. It's very impressive and challenging for me to know that you have to take care of two different positions at the same time. We all know like starting a business is risky while expanding a business even harder as there will always be uncertainties and obstacles. Mr. Lars, could you share with us some of the challenges that you have faced during your business journey and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, during my business times and during the training, also what I noticed one thing. I mean, coming back to my own business, to make that very clear, I do a cherry picking. I get a lot of requests. Can you do a training here? Can you come to China, to Singapore, to Malaysia for some days? I'm doing this. Yes, it's always a pleasure for me. But some requests I have to decline because of a time perspective. And if you're in management and you have even your side business, the bottleneck resource is time. It is absolutely clear. So you have to have a very proper time management. That is something which is absolutely crucial at this point. And the obstacles, what you get in your business career, even in the trainings, it is you have to question yourself and you have to focus yourself in terms of the services and the offers. What can you offer? And that is the same for a trainer as well as even for a top manager. Even as a top manager, I see myself a leader. I have more than 50 people all over the world to lead. They are a completely different team. They are Brazilians. They are people from France, from the Philippines. Some they're working everywhere, yeah, and in different time zones. So you have to have a proper time management, a proper organization, but to understand the people, that is the most crucial part. If you understand what motivates the person opposite to you, people who leading, or people you train, if you understand what is their interest, what is their basic motivation, if you can manage to do this change of perspectives, then you have them on the halfway on your side. Yeah, absolutely clear. And that is, from my point of view, that is the secret. If you can manage to look a little bit sensitive in other people's head, let's say, not in a manipulative way. Yeah, of course you can use it for certain purposes, but if you can manage to change perspectives, and if you can see what is behind, what is the basic motivation of people, then this is fine. Then it is working. It is working then for you and especially also for the people.
All right. Managing multiple departments in different countries can be challenging. Not only do you often have more employees to keep track of, but also each location has its own culture and its own needs based on the clientele from that area. Having 24 years of experience as a sales and marketing manager, followed by the vice president of marketing and e-business, what methods do you use to oversee multiple departments and ensure that your work is error-free?
Let me correct you at one thing. There is no such thing as work is error-free. Yeah, so you can strive to be error-free as much as possible. That should be always the case. Yeah, but you have to have, let's say, also kind of an error culture, that you accept certain errors. Where human beings are, there are errors for what reason ever. Technical errors, that's a different thing. A machine should run proper, so that probably maybe you can come to close to 100%. Human beings not. I don't think so. So you have to accept the human being. You have to accept, and that's again why I called my company Human Factor. You have to accept the human factor. But when you accept this, and I have, as I mentioned it already, more than 50 people all over the world working for me, where I'm leading them. But what I see, what is most important for most of them, but everybody is a little bit different here, I have to give them, I would describe it as an operational freedom. Yeah, so this operational freedom means they have their own portfolio, they have their own activities, they have their own set in where they are empowered and where they're functioning, and where I leave them in the first place alone. Yeah, so they are their managers by their own for their teams, for their area. So and that is very, very important. This is what I describe it as operational freedom. Yeah, and behind this operational freedom, what you definitely have to have as a leader who is above these things, you have to have a certain patience. You have to accept the human beings. You have to have a patience. And I have to admit, I'm an impatient person, even if I'm not looking like that. It means not that I press my people to come out very fast, always with top results. But I like to have it always in a certain speed. Yeah. But I have to understand that the people have to take also their time to develop and to bring good results. And that needs a certain patience. And to give them this operational freedom needs also to have patience. Yeah, and to understand their motivation behind, to do things like this or to do things like that. There might be certain reasons which I do not see, but this motivation behind, I really have to see, and I have to understand. From an organizational point of view, there is one advice what I give to you, also to the younger people. Many people say, like you did, how you organize all these people, different time zones, different teams, so many activities. I have 6 different departments running, from market insights, data science, regional marketing, digital marketing, content management, many different departments, the e-pricing, the e-commerce, the regular marketing, and so on, communication. So these are different activities, but all these activities, they're running all in a different way from an organizational point of view. And my strong advice when I'm teaching also, for example, people in training, I say, well, you have to organize your time, you have to organize your activities. And I'm a great fan of what we call it Eisenhower matrix. Probably might have heard about that. Eisenhower was a former US president, and he had a very special way to organize his own subjects, to do things to do, and the things how to organize in a time manner. That means he separated things in 4 pieces. He said, well, there are things which are urgent and important. Urgent and important, I do by myself most of the time, if possible, and I do it as fast as possible. So these are the burning things, urgent and important. The second is, you have important things, but they are not urgent. So you have to keep them in mind, you organize them, you delegate them, so they are important, you cannot ignore them, but you can take a little bit more your time, and you can organize your time. That is the part number 2 for activities. Part number 3 is, you can imagine, urgent but not important. Urgent but not important, these are minor things which coming to you and people press you very fast. Can you give me this? Can you give me that? Well, either you have a good surrounding and good people working for you so that you can delegate a maximum here, because they are always urgent then, but they are not very important for your activities. So that is something which you can put on a lower level, but you have to still keep it in mind a little bit what is going on here. The 4th part, you can ignore mostly, not completely, but most of the things, and you can imagine what it is. It is the part not urgent and not important. So if it is not urgent and not important, either you're not doing it at all, so you ignore it, or you give it to the people and say, well, X, Y, Z, you can do it, or tell them we are not doing that at all. And if you organize all the things, and that, by the way, includes this kind of Eisenhower matrix, we call it. This is my advice for you guys. Even at university, you can use that very nicely. And this is something, when you organize your work, your things to do in this way, you feel a lot of better, because you feel that you have control of your activities.
Okay, Mr. Lars, seems like time management and organize are important in our life. So now I'll move on to the next question. In the last 2 years, there's been a raw material shortage in the chemical industry that spread globally. With the rising number of the Evonik product, has this crisis adversely affected the production line of the company, especially in the food and nutrition division?
Yeah. You see, there's a lot of change in many industries these days with the digitalization. That is something which is ongoing, and if you're asking for advanced technology behind, that is a must-have. Yeah, there is no standstill, and I won't tell you a secret. With the last 2-3 years, now it's coming to the third year almost, with Corona, this gave a huge push into the digitalization. And that means in many areas, especially in technical areas, in industry areas, in the chemical industry, there's a huge push into this direction. But that means also that you have to organize your workforce accordingly. So Evonik, I really appreciate, Evonik is quite flexible in this direction. Here also, we looking what is possible with our people, and what is possible is from country to country, of course, a little bit different. Different in terms of regulations, but also different in terms of, is that possible to do it with the people? Can I send everybody at home to do a home office? Does the people want that? Are they capable to do that? Do you have the technical equipment for these people to work from home? Is that possible? Is your internet fast enough? And so on. So that means the advanced technology, Adam, plays a very crucial role. It is useless to talk about digitalization and advanced technology in this direction if the frame, if the setup, if the technical basics are not there. But what is the point to discuss about a virtual conference or whatsoever if your internet is too slow and does not allow a camera? Then you have a telephone conference. So there you have to see what is the advanced technology. But I can tell you, and especially at Evonik Industry, and many companies these days, they build that up in a very fast speed. So all our people, they are equipped. They have, most of them, I can really say, they have the same equipment what they have in the company, they have at home already. They have proper cameras, they have the proper computers. Hopefully most of them, let's say, they have also the proper internet environment. But again, that is easily said. That is nice for countries like in Malaysia, in Germany, the Western countries, building up countries. But if you are, let's say, sitting in the office in Kenya, probably, or in the middle of whatever, China, probably, so maybe here the setup might be different. So technology part is most important. And then you have to work with the people. At Evonik, Adam, we have a special program which is coming now alive, but we call it Smart Work Program. And Smart Work Program is nothing else than, let's say, basically a hybrid system. So that means you cannot turn back the times which were like before, that you say, okay, now Corona is finished, everybody coming back to the office. No, mindset changed, possibility changed. People see that it is also nice working from home, and that it is possible, technology-wise possible, and even from their results on a high level possible. So, and you do not want to skip that again, or you do not want to miss that. So you want to keep this possibility. That's why most of the companies, that's why Evonik came out with that, what we call it a hybrid program. That means you have, for Evonik it is like that, you have a maximum of 2 to 3 days a week of your working week where you can work either from home or you work from the office. So that is the hybrid here. You have the possibilities to work from office, but we also, and I want to stress this point, we believe still very much in presence. If companies tell me, well, we now 100% on a virtual basis, I would say that is wrong. Technology-wise, that can be fine, but believe me, human beings have to meet personally from time to time. That is crucial. You have to have a chit chat in the kitchen. You have to go together for a lunch. You have to have that. You have to laugh about the same jokes. You have to hear the whatever rumors these days and therefore you have to have the people in front of you. That is something very necessary, and that you should not skip at all. And we do not skip that at Evonik. That's why we have that, what we call it, Smart Work Program.
Thank you, Mr. Lars, for the fruitful knowledge. So it's the end for our interview for part 1. In part 2, we'll be discussing future insight about the industry on international business. Stay tuned for part 2, everyone. Until then, take care and stay safe.
Thank you.